Well, July rain in Maharashtra has broken a 40-year record. Rain has wreaked havoc in the Konkan region of Maharashtra, especially in the Ratnagiri and Raigad districts. The incessant rain has flooded the Chiplun area, the Khed area, all of this in Ratnagiri and Raigad districts. The Mumbai-Goa highway has been shut and several long-distance trains have been stopped, cancelled or rescheduled on the Konkan railway route. And according to rail officials, there are around 6,000 passengers who are stranded in trains which were regulated at various stations on the Konkan railway route. Mahabaleshwar, the hill station in Maharashtra, has received 480 millimeters of rain in just 24 hours. And the Coast Guard has been deployed along with the NDRF in several areas of Maharashtra to control the flood situation. So this, of course, is the big story that we are tracking. Let's get you all the updates that you need.
Chiplun city of Ratnagiri drowned by incessant rain. The roads turned into rivers which got stuck where they were. The Vashishti river engulfed the entire city. About 5,000 people trapped there had to be taken to safety along with the NDRF as well as the Coast Guard.
जे लोक अडकलेत त्यांच्या फूड पॅकेटची व्यवस्था केली आहे आणि लोक सुरक्षित पहिली प्रायोरिटी लोकांना सुरक्षित बाहेर काढणं यासाठी आहे. हेलिकॉप्टर्सची जो गरज लागली लोकांना इकडनं सुरक्षित स्थळी नेण्यासाठी तर त्याची देखील व्यवस्था तयार करून ठेवण्यास सांगितलेली आहे.
प्रशासन है, लोकप्रतिनिधि है, जनता है, सब मिलके जितने भी लोग फंसे हुए हैं उनको बाहर निकालने की प्राथमिकता जनता का, जिसके जो अटके हुए लोग हैं उनकी जान का बचाने की प्राथमिकता है.
Two other rivers, the Jagbudi in Ratnagiri and Savitri in Mahad, are flowing above the danger mark. Personnel of both disaster relief and Coast Guard are helping out now. In Ratnagiri and Raigad, when the Mumbai-Goa highway was closed, heavy rain also washed away the railway line, as a result of which rail traffic on Central Railway from Titwala to Igatpuri and from Ambarnath to Lonavla remained suspended for hours.
घोरघाट और कसारा घाट में जगह जगह पर बोल्डर गिरने के केसेस हुए थे, लैंडस्लाइड हुई थी, ट्रैक वॉशआउट के जगह जगह केसेस हुए थे.
The heavy rain has led to the lakes which supply water to Mumbai, rising as much as 17% in just one day. Chief Minister Uddhav Thackeray has warned of more rain and held a meeting to organize relief with officials. With Saurabh Gupta, Joshua Chin for NDTV.
All right, and these are, of course, pictures that we are getting to you from Ratnagiri at the moment. These are pictures as of this morning. Remember, Ratnagiri is one of the districts that is worst affected, as rains this July have broken a 40-year record. And those, in fact, are pictures that are also coming in from Pune this morning. Heavy rainfall in Pune has also led to waterlogging in several parts. And incessant rains, of course, continue in Pune for a long period of time. Right, and those are in fact visuals of the dam close to Pune. That floodgates, as you can see, have been opened in order to contain waterlogging in several areas. Those are pictures from the Pune dam. Well, from Maharashtra, let's now shift our focus to Telangana, where heavy rains in many districts of Telangana have left many areas like Nirmal, Nizamabad, Adilabad, Warangal. All of these areas are flooded. The Telangana Chief Minister's KCR has in fact asked for steps to be taken on a war footing to minimize the loss of life and property. Uma Sudhir joins us with the very latest. Uma, the NDRF has been deployed in Telangana as well, and a rain red alert has been sounded in several districts. What more can you tell us?
Yes, indeed, Rishika. As many as 16 districts of the 33 districts in Telangana are in fact quite badly affected by the rains. The rains is causing flooding, and it's also the entire area of the catchment area of the Godavari and the Krishna rivers and the upper riparian states, what we were reporting about from Maharashtra and even from Karnataka. There is a lot of inflow, and in fact many of those irrigation projects along the river, because they were running full, there's a flow. The gates have been, the crest gates have been opened, and there's a lot of water that is coming in, and because of which several districts in Telangana are right now flooded. As many as 8 districts, some of those that you mentioned, as well as Manchiryal, Hanmakonda, Nizamabad, all of those districts, Adilabad, the Asifabad, Kumaram Bhim, Asifabad district, all of them have been badly flooded. In fact, Nirmal town has seen, in fact, the worst ever in its history. In fact, and several colonies were, in fact, flooded. GNR colony, people, reported water coming up to the first floor of their houses, after which the NDRF had to be called in and people were rescued out of those areas. Of course, the coal mines that are there in Singarini, those also got filled, and of course, coal production there has as of now stopped. But what we are expecting is that, one, that the flows will continue from the upper riparian states. Two, there is more rain that is expected, not just in Telangana but also in Andhra Pradesh, where in fact the Chief Minister has also put all the district collectors on high alert. In Telangana, all the ministers, MLAs have been asked to stay in their constituencies because they are expecting that because of the rivulets and the lakes and rivers overflowing, there could be flash floods in areas. In Nirmal town per se, people are pointing out that the encroachments along the river were not taken care of or were not dealt with an iron fist for a long time, and that's one reason why the town in fact saw this kind of a flooding that we are reporting from Nirmal town itself. The more lighter part of it is that people in fact went fishing on the roads of Nirmal town, and we have some visuals that show that people are carrying fish that are weighing as much as 10 kgs, and they were caught right on the road of the Nirmal town itself. That of course is the lighter aspect, but yes, huge numbers of people have been evacuated from their homes and carried away. There was a rescue that had to happen of 7 laborers in Asifabad itself, and that rescue operation per se happened this morning by the NDRF. Of course, the district administration all over has been put on high alert. Back to you.
Thanks, Uma, for joining us with the very latest. We'll continue to come back to you for more updates. Meanwhile, from Maharashtra, Telangana, now let's get you those shocking pictures from Madhya Pradesh. Live pictures, in fact, have captured a house developing cracks and then collapsing literally like a pack of cards amid heavy rainfall that caused flash floods in the Vidisha district. Take a look at those pictures coming in from Vidisha and Maharashtra, where amid the heavy rainfall, a house has in fact collapsed in the Vidisha district. So those are pictures of an entire house just collapsing like a pack of cards after heavy rainfall was reported in Vidisha district of Madhya Pradesh as well. Well, the flood-like situation prevailing in different parts of the country is going to continue to remain a top focus story for us here on NDTV. But let's shift our focus to the other big developments we're tracking today. Fresh revelations in the Pegasus spyware storm have revealed that there are some other phone numbers that have now featured. The phone numbers of Reliance's Anil Ambani were on that alleged list of potential targets for surveillance, according to the latest report. We're also learning that the ex-CBI chief, Alok Verma, was in fact on that list. Now, this is extremely crucial because he was added to that list in 2018. Let's go right across to Arvind Gunasekar to put these developments in perspective. Arvind, what more can you tell us about the fresh revelations?
Yeah, Rishika, the new story, part of the Pegasus spyware project, reveals that the former CBI director Alok Verma was also put into the surveillance zone hours after he was ousted as the CBI chief. On October 23, 2018, Alok Verma, who was the then CBI director, was removed from CBI along with his deputy Rakesh Asthana. This particular story, which has been published by The Wire, which is part of the international collaboration that is working on the Pegasus spyware project, reveals that Alok Verma's phone was put into surveillance zone hours after he was removed from the CBI top post. Not just Alok Verma, even his wife, even his daughter and son-in-law, all their mobile phones were put into surveillance zone. In fact, 8 of their mobile phones were sent for forensic examination to Amnesty International, and the examination reveals that these phones were compromised through the Pegasus spyware. Also, Rakesh Asthana was the then special director. His phone, and also A.K. Sharma, who was the then joint director policy, which is again the most sensitive post in CBA. Even their phones were also put into surveillance zone. So that's the story that The Wire has reported yesterday. So earlier, it is because of the public ugly fight between Alok Verma and Rakesh Asthana that led to the ouster of both these senior top CBI officers. But what is extremely revealing is that their phones were put into surveillance zone. Both of them held very sensitive posts, that is the CBI top post and also the CBI number 2 post. Not just the CBI officers' phones were put into surveillance zone. The next story from The Wire, which is part of the international collaboration, that also reveals that Anil Ambani's phone was also put into surveillance phone. Anil Ambani, one of his employee in his company, and also Dassault's Indian executive, his number was also put into the surveillance list. So all this after the Rafale story was broken in France and also in India. That's what the Wire story reveals, that during the same time after the Rafale story was reported, when the Rafale story started making waves in India, that's when the numbers of Dassault India's head and also Anil Ambani's phones were also put into surveillance zone. So though their phones have not been forensically examined, but the database that has been accessed by the Wire and other media organizations across the globe reveals that these executives' numbers were also put under the spyware, Pegasus spyware surveillance zone. What we are being told is that the Congress party has called in for a meeting at 9:45, wherein both the Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha MPs will meet together. Congress party is planning to take up this particular issue in both the houses, in both Lok Sabha and Rajya Sabha today.
Thanks, Arvind, for joining us with the very latest. Well, the Pegasus row has continued to create a storm in both houses of Parliament. The spyware storm was witnessed in Parliament yesterday as well. A protesting Trinamool MP snatched papers from the IT Minister Ashwini Vaishnav, tore them apart on the floor of the House. And all of this happened, and the minister had to cut short his statement. We're now learning that an inquiry could in fact be ordered against the MP. But here's a report on the political storm over the Pegasus scandal.
Sir, with your permission, I may be allowed to lay the statement of the Minister. The papers of the Information Technology Minister snatched, torn, forcing him to cut short his statement on the Pegasus scandal. The culprit, TMC's Shantanu Sen. Minister Vaishnav's statement was identical to the one he made on Monday, even though since his name has been reported as a target in the phone hack allegations. Parliament was stalled, the BJP went on the offensive and claimed Amnesty International, which was part of the Pegasus investigation, had distanced itself from the list of over 50,000 phones.
The way mythical characters like Darth Vader or Voldemort are created in Harry Potter, similar conduct is being indulged in by the opposition in the Parliament. Amnesty International has denied about this list, and yet opposition has continued to disrupt the House on a fake list.
The human rights group rejected reports which questioned the Pegasus data. Israeli media had alleged Amnesty's said list of 50,000 phone numbers were not related to the NSO. Amnesty called recent reports false allegations and inaccurate media stories and stands by findings of the Pegasus project. Data is irrefutably linked to potential targets of NSO's Pegasus spyware. False rumors pushed on social media intended to distract from widespread unlawful targeting of journalists, activists and others. However, some unanswered questions remain. But where did the list of the 50,000 potential targets come from? Amnesty says we will not comment on how the records were accessed. Either way, the Pegasus scandal isn't about to die down.
They are giving misleading statement on this Pegasus issue. We are not going to accept it. That is what happened.
The government has to give us a simple, straightforward answer, and that is, did you use Pegasus? Yes? No. Or did you use Pegasus? Is that correct? No answer.
But the TMC MP who targeted the minister could face action. With more names expected in the hacking case, India's opposition is asking one simple question. Did the government use Pegasus software against prominent individuals? With camera person Ashok Male, Sunil Prabhu, NDTV.
Well, while the monsoon session of Parliament is underway, today is day 2 of the Farmers' Mini Parliament or Sansad that they are holding parallelly at Jantar Mantar. This is happening just a few kilometers away from Parliament. They say that they want members of Parliament to listen to their demands and repeal the 3 contentious agricultural laws.
From Singhu on Delhi's border with Haryana, 200 farmers left this morning for Jantar Mantar in central Delhi to hold a Kisan Sansad in tandem with Parliament being held just 2 kilometers away.
Farmers have issued a whip to the parliamentarians. Normally parties do it, but this time the voters have done it. We are going there to discuss an issue which has been discussed in the Parliament of UK, New Zealand, Canada, but not in India.
At Jantar Mantar, heavy security deployment as the farmers began to arrive in buses. Prominent farmer leader Rakesh Tikait flagged off the event.
यहाँ पे बैठेंगे, अपनी बात रखेंगे और किसान संसद भी चला सकता है, ये भारत सरकार ने मान लिया. कंडीशनल बात करते हैं, कंडीशनल बात ना करें.
But the government repeated its earlier stand.
बिल के किस प्रावधान पर उनको आपत्ति है, अगर वो आपत्ति बताएंगे तो आज भी सरकार खुले मन से उनके साथ चर्चा करने को तैयार है.
In a press briefing, new Minister of State Meenakshi Lekhi dismissed the Kisan Sansad.
किसान के पास समय नहीं है जंतर मंतर आके बैठने का, वो अपने खेत में काम कर रहा है. ये आड़तियों के द्वारा चढ़ाए गए लोग हैं, फिर किसान आप उन लोगों को बोल रहे हैं, मवाली है वो.
The Lok Sabha and the Rajya Sabha were adjourned during the day several times on different issues, including the farm laws. Farmers have been protesting on this issue for nearly 8 months now. They say they will continue to protest in every form they can, come rain, come sunshine.
किसान की बात को मीडिया के सामने रखने से भी आप रोकने का काम करेंगे?
ये मीडिया न्यूज़ है.
नहीं मीडिया हमें मीडिया ने बुलाया है. आप दे रहे हैं
On the other side of Parliament, Cox cited higher authorities to stop these MPs speaking about the farmers. With Shonakshi Chakrabarti in New Delhi, Anusya Mathur for NDTV.
Welcome back. The big political focus from Punjab. Navjot Singh Sidhu will be taking over as the Punjab Congress president today, and Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh, we're told, is going to be attending the event. Now, Navjot Singh Sidhu has invited party leaders, of course, for his swearing-in ceremony. The latest tweet put out by Manish Tiwari said he is going to be attending, but Captain Amrinder Singh has also invited party leaders to tea at the Punjab Bhavan today, after which they will in fact proceed to the party office for the program. So, has there been a patch-up in the long-standing dispute? Well, Akshay Dongre has the full story.
Punjab Chief Minister Amrinder Singh appears to have finally accepted his rival Navjot Sidhu's appointment as the state Congress chief, with this and an invitation for tea. A day after this show of strength by Navjot Singh Sidhu, Punjab Congress leaders, including newly appointed working presidents, reached out to Punjab Chief Minister with a letter inviting him for Sidhu's takeover at the party headquarters. The invite, seen as a softening of Sidhu's stand, read, "As the eldest of our Punjab Congress family, I request you to please come and bless the new team." It was also signed by a majority of the MLAs. Elections are early next year.
प्रधान साहब की तरफ से और समूह मंत्री और एमएलए साहबान के तरफ से एक इनविटेशन मुख्यमंत्री साहब को देने आए थे इस फंक्शन में, जहां मुख्यमंत्री साहब और हमारे ऑल इंडिया कांग्रेस कमेटी के जनरल सेक्रेटरी हरीश रावत जी भी आएंगे.
Soon after meeting with Congress leaders, Punjab Chief Minister's media advisor tweeted accepting the invitation. Earlier, Raveen Thukral had ruled out the CM meeting with Sidhu if there was no apology.
Well, the demands that were raised by the Chief Minister that Sidhu apologizes for his earlier tweets as a condition for him to attend the ceremony has not been met. But the Chief Minister has finally agreed that he will be taking part as far as that particular ceremony is concerned. Now, what exactly happens in the future as far as Congress politics is concerned in Punjab is still a big question. But for now, things are looking in favor of Navjot Singh Sidhu, who will be taking over as the Punjab Pradesh Congress Committee President. With camera person Ashwini Mehra, I'm Akshay Dongre for NDTV.
We'll of course continue to keep a close watch on what happens this evening, as of course Navjot Singh Sidhu is sworn in. Meanwhile, the Punjab Chief Minister Captain Amrinder Singh tweeted a video saying that He was at his happy place with the Jawans of the Sikh regiment to commemorate the 175th Racing Day. Welcome back. As the Haryana government enters into different phases of unlock for the state, private schools in Gurugram are opening up in a staggered manner with COVID-19 protocols in place. However, there are mixed reactions from parents and students.
Temperature checks, sanitization, COVID protocols in place for senior students attending classes at the Euro International School in Gurugram. From Monday, even middle school will come in. These children haven't seen a classroom in more than a year. As Haryana unlocks further, private schools in Gurugram like Shri Ram, DPS, Euro International and SD Adarsh Vidyalaya prepare to open from class 6.
You know, the kids come from homes where...
But mixed reactions from parents and students.
So far, it's just at the very beginning. However, as a parent, I am concerned because, you know, this is coinciding completely with the Haryana government's decision to open up large scale in Gurgaon. And then the other very important concern I have is that our children are not vaccinated.
I am in a group of 30 people and including 2 class teachers. The class is also really small.
अच्छा लग रहा है, पढ़ाई दोबारा अच्छे से होगी और ऑनलाइन ढंग से हो नहीं पा रही थी ना.
सोशल डिस्टेंसिंग वगैरह कैसे मेंटेन कर रहे हो, क्या कर रहे हो?
हम एक हाथ दूर रहते हैं और मास्क हमेशा लगा के रखते हैं.
Some parents like Ankur feel going back to physical classes is important for children's well-being.
Recently we got a communication from school about staggered opening of school, which I'm very much in favor of. Last year has been very difficult for children because this whole concept of sitting alone doing a virtual classroom has really not helped them.
So I can't wait to go back to school and, you know, live the real school experience, waking up early in the morning and getting ready and going to school, learning new things and hanging out with your friends.
Gurugram has seen a significant dip in COVID cases over the last 1 month, with the fatality rate coming down to 0.5%. There have also been 0 COVID deaths over the last 13 days.
Haryana is reporting less than 50 cases per day since last 5 to 6 days, if I say new active cases. So overall COVID has come down. That's why the government of Haryana has decided that we will be allowing spa and the theatres.
But despite this, there has been a low turnout so far in the private schools that have already reopened for senior classes.
Yes, consent parents का होना चाहिए. उसके लिए हम लोगों ने ये consent letter frame किया था, draft किया गया है consent letter, जो कि जो पेरेंट्स ऑफलाइन बच्चों को स्कूल में भेजना चाहते हैं उन्होंने अपनी सहमति जता करके बच्चों को स्कूल में भेजा है. बट येस, हमारे ऑनलाइन ऑफलाइन दोनों क्लासेस चल रही हैं. ऑफलाइन में बहुत ज़्यादा बच्चे अभी नहीं है हमारे पास में. किसी क्लास में 4 बच्चे हैं, किसी क्लास में 5 बच्चे हैं. वो डर के मारे नहीं भेज रहे हैं पेरेंट्स.
According to the Deputy District Education Officer of Gurugram, the private schools have seen a low turnout on reopening. Between 16th and 20th of July, only 25%, which is half of the 50% capacity, have turned up. Most schools are seeing a low turnaround because of the weather, but there is definitely hesitancy among parents. Mixed feelings loom large among parents as private schools in Gurugram reopen. While some are excited, the others are apprehensive ahead of a potential third wave of the coronavirus. In Gurugram, with camera persons Sushil Rathi and Manoj Thakur, Shanakshi Chakravarti for NDTV.
Now, 2 days ago, Maharashtra has added over 5,000 deaths over the last few days. This, of course, in a reconciliation exercise that has taken place. Officials say that the state regularly adds backlogs to its COVID numbers in order to ensure that the data is authentic and the numbers are not suppressed. The delays are attributed mainly because of procedural issues of adding deaths and a shortage of staff in the districts.
45-year-old Surekha Rokre says that her husband Rao Sahib Rokre died due to COVID. She says a key report of the hospital showed a high CT score and indicated COVID, but the hospital did not share her husband's COVID test report. The Ahmednagar Civil Hospital admission slip says he was admitted for suspected COVID, but the death certificate has no mention of it.
मग कसं सांभाळायचं आम्ही आम्हाला जे आणि रिपोर्टवर काही दिलेलंच नाही ना त्यांनी आम्हाला आणि दवाखान्यात नेलं त्यावेळेस त्यांनी आम्हाला स्कोर सांगितले होते आणि मग रिपोर्टवर काहीच नाही दिलं त्यांनी आम्हाला तसं मग त्यांचा मृत्यू झाली.
The government says such cases are being added to the list after scrutiny and it's checking and correcting its list of COVID deaths. In 1 week, the death tally in India's worst hit state has increased by 3,500 and 23,000 backlog deaths were added in 2 months.
सायंकाळी आम्ही 3,500 हे मृत्यूचे आकडे जे रिकन्सायलेशन केले ॲडजस्ट केले म्हणजे हे काही कुठे लपवलेले नाही आहेत. आम्ही अत्यंत पारदर्शक आणि प्रामाणिकपणे या बाबतीत काम करत आहोत. साधारणपणे 2,500 नवीन केसेस आणि 3,500 मृत्यूच्या केसेस या दोन्ही रिकन्सायलेशन करण्याची कार्यवाही करण्यात आलेली आहे.
Districts have been told to ensure that the need to reconcile data does not arise in the future and that they follow up with private hospitals daily and upload data daily. For those who were left out of the lists, the worry is that if the government announces compensation, they may not even be eligible for it. In 3 weeks, the centre has to give its compensation plan for COVID deaths to the Supreme Court. The addition of backlog deaths has pushed up India's weekly case fatality rate, which is used to define the severity of the pandemic. And 23,000 backlog cases being added from one state alone in 2 months will push up India's COVID death tally significantly. In Mumbai, with camera person Praveen G. Rohit, Saurabh Gupta, NDTV.
Well, the big story that we're tracking from Uttar Pradesh, a 17-year-old girl from Uttar Pradesh's Deoria district was first murdered by her relatives for wearing jeans and a top, and then her body remained hanging off a bridge for hours between Monday evening and Tuesday night after it was thrown off the bridge, allegedly by the girl's own grandfather and 2 uncles.
This 17-year-old girl from UP's Devaria murdered with lathis and rods on Monday evening, allegedly by her own grandfather and uncles, just because she was wearing a jeans and a top and refused to change her dress. The girl's body later found dangling from this river bridge 12 hours after her killing. These ghastly scenes, the result of an attempt by the accused to dispose the body, gone wrong.
जाके शाम के नहा के जीन्स टॉप पहली बस पहन के जाते नहीं पूजा के उनका बाबा बोलना कि कपड़ा नहीं पहने दे बहनी कली जवन कुछ चलल पहने खातिर हम पहने बस यही खातिर गाड़ी गुप्ता देना विरोध लैकन कहना लैकन बोल देनी कहना मार के मुँह लोन पर लाठी डंडा जैसे चाहना वैसे मानना.
The girl and her mother had recently come to live at the home of their in-laws in Devaria. Her father is a migrant worker in Punjab. Reports say the accused used to argue with the girl regularly for wearing what they called Western clothes. The police have not announced any arrest so far. With Vinod Dwivedi in Devaria, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
Now, the political suspense over the Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa continues. He told the media on Thursday that there would be a celebration of his 2 years in office on the 26th of July and that after that, he would follow whatever the party decides for him. He did point out that he has been an exception in the party holding public office after the age of 75.
Veteran BJP leader, Karnataka's Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa is still keeping people guessing over the will he or won't he resign question. Speculation that he would step down peaked after his sudden visit to Delhi last Friday to meet the Prime Minister and other top BJP leaders. A few Karnataka BJP leaders had been outspoken in their criticism of the Chief Minister's style of functioning and the alleged interference of his son Vijendra, prompting a recent visit by the party state in charge Arun Singh, who gave an endorsement to the Chief Minister after meeting party leaders. Yediyurappa himself has been denying any talk of resignation, but that has not ended the uncertainty.
ಇನ್ನೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ 25 ಏನಾದರೂ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಬರಬಹುದು ಅಂತ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ನಾಯಕತ್ವ ಏನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬದ್ಧನಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹಿಂದೆನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಈಗಲೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾವತ್ತು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವತ್ತು ಸಂಘಟನೆಯನ್ನು ಬಲಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
On Wednesday evening, the Chief Minister had tweeted asking people not to indulge in protests or indiscipline. The Chief Minister has been seeing support for his continuation in the post from heads of Hindu religious institutions who had met him personally and who also gave statements asking him to complete the final 2 years of his term. Ministers loyal to him have been saying there is no question of a leadership change.
It is very clear, no discussion is being held in the state about the CM change. For us, CM is continuing, he will continue.
The BJP's first ever South Indian Chief Minister is not someone who can be ignored. With Kumar and Govind, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Well, breaking news that is coming in. A drone was shot down in the Kanachak area. An explosive material was in fact recovered. The Jammu and Kashmir police has confirmed this to NDTV. A hexacopter was shot down around 6 kilometers inside the border. Approximately 5 kilograms of explosives have been recovered. Neeta Sharma joins us with the very latest. Neeta, what more can you tell us?
Rishika, the details were shared with us by the Director General of Police of Jammu and Kashmir, which you just narrated, that a drone was shot down in Kalachak area of Aknoor sector. It was well within our jurisdiction. It was 6 kilometers inside in its jurisdiction when it was shot. The explosives has been recovered. Jammu and Kashmir police is going to share more details in a press conference, which the ADGP Jammu is going to address at 10:30 a.m. But drones have been spotted after that Indian Air Force base, which was attacked last month. After that, drone spotting has been a regular, feature as far as both Jammu and Kashmir has been concerned. But in this case, now it is very clear that someone is trying to create trouble in Valley and in Jammu region. That is why, this explosive was again being brought from the other side. That is what our sources are telling us, that it has linkages to another country, but we have to wait for more details, which are going to be shared by the Jammu and Kashmir police shortly. Rishika?
All right. Thanks, Neeta, for joining us with the very latest. A drone there being shot down and explosives, in fact, have been recovered. We'll keep a close watch on those developments. Meanwhile, let's shift our focus to the big political story we're tracking from Karnataka. The political suspense over Karnataka Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa continues. He's told the media on Thursday that there would be a celebration of his 2 years in office on the 26th of July and that after that he would follow whatever the party decides for him. He pointed out that he's been an exception as far as holding a public office is concerned, because the rules within the party are that nobody above the age of 75 is actually holding such offices. But we've also seen the Karnataka Chief Minister gathering a lot of support for himself from Lingayat leaders and religious sayers as well. Let's go right across to Maya Sharma joining us with the very latest. So Maya, the Chief Minister there confirming that there's going to be a celebration of his 2 years in office, but one doesn't know if he's actually going to continue in that office after that.
That is correct. The Chief Minister in the middle of speculation about whether or when he is going to resign, still saying he hasn't heard anything from Delhi yet about resignation. He says there's been no talk about it, but that if he is asked to resign, he will step down. He's expecting a message, he said, from Delhi on the 25th, that is Sunday, ahead of Monday's 2-year anniversary of his taking over as Chief Minister of Karnataka, 2 years since the fall of that coalition government between the Congress and the JDS. So he says before that he expects a message on Sunday, and he said what he has said before: I will do whatever the High Command tells me to do. If they tell me to go, I'll go, but he's going to be working till the very last minute. He's been having a very busy time of it since his return from Delhi last weekend. Several meetings, discussions on COVID. Today he'll be actually looking at stormwater drains and in the city of Bengaluru, which is often hit by floods when it rains very heavily. So he said, I'm going to be continuing till the last minute. He's indicated also that when people asked him what about a potential successor, he went on to say, why are you in such a hurry? Let's wait to see what happens on the 25th. So not saying definitely yet that he is going to resign, but also not saying that he's not going to. The suspense really considering for B.S. Yediyurappa, a time perhaps of some concern for the MLAs who actually crossed over from the Congress and the JDS. Many of them joined the BJP, many of them became ministers as well. So they may be also wondering what their political future is if in fact the man who brought them into the party, B.S. Yediyurappa, does step down. It's a time of uncertainty. It's a time of people actually watching to see what message comes from Delhi on Sunday. If a message comes from Delhi on Sunday, what Yediyurappa will do if that message comes. Still not totally clear. Let's just take a look now at the events which happened. He's been getting a lot of support from religious heads, a huge amount of support from his loyal ministers as well. Will he, won't he? Let's take a look at what's been leading up to this current situation.
All right, Maya, we're going to have a look at that report in just a bit, but if I can just also ask you, lots of questions on who could be the potential replacement, and this is of course all speculation at the moment, but what are you hearing? We also know that when B.S. Yediyurappa came to Delhi for those important meetings, many said last minute emergency meetings, his son accompanied him. There was also speculation that he could perhaps bargain for a cabinet post for his son.
Well, really, all that speculation is still very premature at this stage. When Yediyurappa was actually directly asked, if you are resigning, are you going to give any names? He said, I'm not giving any names, I'm not giving any suggestions. What's your hurry? Let's wait and see what happens on the 25th. But there will be many considerations if in fact he does step down or whenever he does, as to who will follow Yediyurappa. Because Yediyurappa, of course, the first chief minister of the BJP in South India, and certainly the best known figure, the most charismatic leader in the state for the party. Who would follow him? Will they have to follow another Lingayat, a representative of the caste base to which Yediyurappa belongs and to which in fact is considered a very strong vote base of the BJP? Will they look at that? Will they look instead at a Vokkaliga leader from the southern part of the state to make the southern part of the state happier? This is not considered such a strong BJP vote base as the northern parts of the state, except in the urban areas. Home Minister Basavaraj Bommai was also asked specifically, are you being considered as a replacement? He said that is not a question at all now. Let us see what happens. Let us see what the Chief Minister decides. So really a little premature, but names of course doing the round, many names in fact being considered, but we still have to see whether he does in fact resign this weekend.
Will he or won't he resign this weekend? What we know for sure is that there's going to be a celebration. What follows after is a question that remains to be answered. Thanks, Maya, for joining us for the very latest. Let's now take a look at the report that Maya sent us earlier.
Veteran BJP leader, Karnataka's Chief Minister B.S. Yediyurappa is still keeping people guessing over the will he or won't he resign question. Speculation that he would step down peaked after his sudden visit to Delhi last Friday to meet the Prime Minister and other top BJP leaders. A few Karnataka BJP leaders had been outspoken in their criticism of the Chief Minister's style of functioning and the alleged interference of his son Vijendra, prompting a recent visit by the party state in charge Arun Singh, who gave an endorsement to the Chief Minister after meeting party leaders. Yediyurappa himself has been denying any talk of resignation, but that has not ended the uncertainty.
ಇನ್ನೂ ಯಾವುದೇ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಇಲ್ಲ ನನಗೆ. 25 ಏನಾದರೂ ಮೆಸೇಜ್ ಬರ್ಬೋದು ಅಂತ ಕಾಯ್ತಾ ಇದ್ದೇನೆ. ಕೇಂದ್ರದ ನಾಯಕತ್ವ ಏನು ತೀರ್ಮಾನ ತಗೊಳುತ್ತೆ ಅದಕ್ಕೆ ನಾನು ಬದ್ಧನಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ ಅಂತ ಹಿಂದೆನೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ, ಈಗಲೂ ಹೇಳಿದ್ದೇನೆ. ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿ ಎಷ್ಟು ದಿನ ಇರಬೇಕು ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೋ ಅಷ್ಟು ದಿವಸ ಮುಖ್ಯಮಂತ್ರಿಯಾಗಿರ್ತೇನೆ. ಯಾವತ್ತು ಬೇಡ ಅಂತ ಹೇಳ್ತಾರೆ ಅವತ್ತು ಸಂಘಟನೆಯನ್ನು ಬಲಪಡಿಸೋಕ್ಕೆ ರಾಜ್ಯದಲ್ಲಿ ಪ್ರವಾಸ ಮಾಡಿ ಕೆಲಸ ಮಾಡ್ತೇನೆ.
On Wednesday evening, the Chief Minister had tweeted asking people not to indulge in protests or indiscipline. The Chief Minister has been seeing support for his continuation in the post from heads of Hindu religious institutions who had met him personally and who also gave statements asking him to complete the final 2 years of his term. Ministers loyal to him have been saying there is no question of a leadership change.
It is very clear, no discussion is being held in the state about the CM change. For us, CM is continuing, he will continue.
The BJP's first ever South Indian Chief Minister is not someone who can be ignored. With Kumar and Govind, Maya Sharma in Bengaluru for NDTV.
Well, the big story we're tracking from Uttar Pradesh, a 17-year-old girl from Deoria district was first murdered by her relatives for allegedly wearing a jeans and a top. They had a problem with her lifestyle. Now, her body then remained hanging from a bridge for hours between Monday evening and Tuesday night after it was thrown off the bridge allegedly by the girl's grandfather and two uncles who murdered her.
This 17-year-old girl from UP's Devaria murdered with lathis and rods on Monday evening, allegedly by her own grandfather and uncles, just because she was wearing a jeans and a top and refused to change her dress. The girl's body later found dangling from this river bridge 12 hours after her killing. These ghastly scenes, the result of an attempt by the accused to dispose the body, gone wrong.
जाके शाम के नहा के जीन्स टॉप पहलीन बस पहन के जातनी पूजा के उनका बाबा बोलना कि कपड़ा नहीं पहरे दे बहनी कलिन जवन कुछ चलल पहने खातिन हम पहनब बस यही खातिन गाड़ी गुप्ता देना विरोध लइकन इसकैना लइकनी बोल देनी कहना मार के मुँह लोन पर लाठी डंडा जैसे चाहना वैसे मानना.
The girl and her mother had recently come to live at the home of their in-laws in Devaria. Her father is a migrant worker in Punjab. Reports say the accused used to argue with the girl regularly for wearing what they called Western clothes. The police have not announced any arrest so far. With Vinod Dwivedi in Devaria, this is Alok Pandey, NDTV.
While incessant rains have caused devastation and flooding in several parts of Maharashtra and the Ratnagiri district, rain has broken a 40-year record. We've seen scenes of waterlogging and flooding reported from the Ratnagiri and Raigad districts, incessant flooding in the Chiplun area of the Ratnagiri districts, Mahad in the Raigad district. We know that the Mumbai-Goa highway is currently shut off. Several long-distance trains have been stopped along the Konkan route. There's also waterlogging and flooding reported in low-lying areas of Mumbai. Let's go across to Sohit Mishra joining us with the very latest. Sohit, worrying pictures and scenes coming in from different parts of Maharashtra at the moment. What's the very latest that you can tell us?
Well, that's right. Be it coastal Konkan, be it several districts in western Maharashtra or the places we have been seeing since Thursday that there has been heavy rainfall that is happening over there. Now, Chiplun town in Ratnagiri, if we talk about that, it comes under the Konkan area and it is badly hit as flood water from nearby Vasishti river has submerged in several areas. So it's been almost 17 hours that there is flood in this area. We have been seeing that several roads going over there have been blocked. The NDRF are also facing a lot of problems to reach over there for the rescue operations. The state authorities have deployed 2 teams of NDRF in Kolhapur as well as the Panchganga river over there has started swelling. So apart from Chiplun, we also know that Kolhapur, now remember in 2019 that Kolhapur was badly hit with floods and it was in August that year. Now it's in July when the Panchganga river has started swelling, and that's the reason that we can see that even Kolhapur has been underwater. The IMD has issued a red alert for the Raigad, Ratnagiri, Pune, Satara and Kolhapur for Thursday, whereas there has been 9 other districts which has orange alert, which includes Mumbai, Palghar and Thane. So the water level of Panchganga river in Kolhapur as well as Krishna and Sangli has been on the rise near the danger level. So while there has been floods in Kolhapur, there are floods-like situation in Sangli as well as Satara area. The water level of Krishna river has been rising. The district administration has also started to discharge the Koina dam in Satara after there was a rise in water level. So these are the reasons why we can say that there are flood-like situations in several parts of the state. The connection between the people has cancelled. There is no mobile network. Also, several of the roads are closed. So these are the situations that is happening. There are landslides that have been reported from several of these places. Now, apart from that, as you were speaking about Mumbai, I can say that 10 people have been injured as there was a house collapse that happened in Govandi. 3 of them have died. So this is what is happening in Mumbai. So the of accidents as well as the incidents that has been happening around the monsoon in Mumbai and MMR regions are continuously rising, and what we are seeing is that an orange alert has been issued for Mumbai, Thane and nearby areas, whereas there is red alert for several other areas where we can see that the there is flood-like situation in Sangli and Satara, and there are floods in Chiplun, Raigad, Ratnagiri as well as Kolhapur districts of Maharashtra.
And July rain in Ratnagiri, Sohit, breaking a 40-year record, and what you're also learning is worrying because you're seeing incessant rain and heavy rain is expected over the course of the next 3 days now.
That's right. So the warning has been issued. However, they are saying that after 2 days, the intensity of rainfall will reduce. Speaking about Satara or other places, what we can say is that in fact there was 594.4 mm of rainfall that was recorded in Mahabaleshwar, which is highest ever. So this is the condition that is happening right now. So you can imagine if there is like 594 mm of rainfall that has been recorded in 24 hours, that has never happened. So this is a new record that has been set in Mahabaleshwar, and this is since there has been continuously heavy rainfall that is happening in several of these places. The water level in these rivers have risen, and that is the reason that we can see flood-like situation in several places where hundreds of people are struck, and the NDRF, the local authorities, and now there has been help that has been asked from the Navy as well as the Air Force too. And all of them are trying to rescue as many people as possible. There is no electricity, there is no internet, there is no connectivity between the roads, so the people are actually struck. We have been seeing visuals of water being till the ground floor being totally under the water. There are water levels rising until the first floor in several places. So this is the condition in several of the places, especially in the Konkan belt of Maharashtra, and the rescue operation is going on. The next 24 hours is very crucial. Now remember that yesterday while the rescue operations was on, after dark, the NDRF as well as the other people found it very risky to rescue. So the rescue operations was stopped for some time. And they also find it very hard to reach to several places because of the connectivity issue. So these are the issues that the NDRF officials are facing. However, the rescue operation is on. And as I said, the next 24 hours is very crucial for Maharashtra, especially in these places where the water level is rising continuously.